Does eating chocolate cause acne? Can you still enjoy your favorite treat without breaking out? I'm Dr. Chiyen, a doctor with special interest in dermatology. Today, I'm going to give you the most honest and evidence-based answer that I can. The research on chocolate and acne is more mixed than you might think. But the latest research are telling us something very interesting. Let's dive in. The chocolate acne debate. So here is the thing, for decades, dermatologists had told patients that diet had nothing to do with acne. And for chocolate specifically, the belief was, it doesn't matter, eat what you want. That belief came from one study, a 1969 study funded by chocolate industry found no link between chocolate and acne. But here is what happened since then. Science has evolved, we have better studies, better methodologies, and the picture is much more complicated. So let's look at what the latest research actually says. In 2024, a crossover study was published in journal Food that looked specifically at dark chocolate and acne. Here is what they did. They recruited 92 participants with acne and divided them into two groups. Both groups follow an anti-inflammatory diet for a week. Then, for the next 4 weeks, one group continued with the anti-inflammatory diet, while another group continued with the same diet plus 50 grams of 85% dark chocolate every single day. After 4 weeks, they switched. The chocolate group stopped eating chocolate and the non-chocolate group started eating chocolate. The results were striking. After 4 weeks of daily chocolate consumption, the severity of acne lesions increased significantly. In one group, the severity score went from 2.5 to 3.4 out of 5. In the other group, it went from 2.4 to 3.5. Overall, chocolate intake contributed to the exacerbations of acne lesions by 1 point in 65 participants, by 2 points in 13 participants, and by 3 points in 1 participant. And here is the kicker. This was 85% dark chocolate. This wasn't milk chocolate with lots of sugar. This was high cacao, relatively low sugar dark chocolate. The conclusion, daily consumption of 50 gram 85% dark chocolate, even with anti-inflammatory diet, can intensify the acne lesions. But that is not the only study. A 2014 double-blind randomized control trial in 14 acne-prone men found that consuming 100% cacao capsule led to statistically significant increase in the total acne lesion by day 4 and day 7 compared to baseline. A 2016 randomized crossover study of 54 college students found that a statistically increase in the total facial acne lesions 48 hours after consuming a standard milk chocolate bar. An average of 4.8 new lesions compared to fewer lesions in jelly bean control group. A 2021 Thai study of over 2,400 adolescents and adults found that consuming 100 grams of chocolate per week was associated with a 29% higher odds of increased acne severity. And a 2023 systematic review that analyzed over 34 articles with over 120,000 participants found that chocolate, along with other high glycemic foods and dairy products, promotes the production of acne lesions. The 1969 industry-funded study. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. In 1969, a study was published that found no link between chocolate and acne. The study was published by chocolate industry, and it influenced dermatology recommendation for decades. For years, doctors told patients diet doesn't matter, chocolate does not cause acne. But here is what we now know. The 1969 study had significant limitations. It wasn't well controlled, it didn't account for other dietary factors. And most importantly, it was funded by a very industry that had a vested interest on the results. Today we have a better science, and the science is telling us that chocolate does play a role in acne, especially consuming in large amount and combining with sugar or dairy. So why the mixed results? Why do some studies show a link but others don't? It is important to understand what chocolate actually contains. First, sugar. Chocolate, especially milk chocolate, is packed with sugar. When you eat sugar, your blood glucose spikes. This triggers a surge in insulin and insulin-like growth factor 1, IGF-1. What does IGF-1 do? It stimulates your sebaceous glands to produce more oil. It promotes skin cell growth that can clog pores, and it increases inflammation in your skin. Second, milk. Milk chocolate contains dairy in the form of milk solid. Dairy contains hormone and protein that further stimulates IGF-1 production. This amplifies the oil-producing and pore-clogging effects. Third, cacao itself. Here is where it gets interesting. The 2014 study that I mentioned earlier used 100% cacao capsule, no sugar, no milk, but still found an increase in the number of acne lesions. This suggests that cacao itself might have some effect, possibly through pro-inflammatory compounds or affecting the immune response in the skin. So the truth is likely sugar plus milk plus cacao, all three contributes. But the sugar and milk seems to be the biggest drivers. This is also why dark chocolate, which has less sugar and no milk, appears to be less problematic. One study even found that dark chocolate consumption was associated with 48% lower odds of developing acne comparing to the other group. So what is the difference between dark chocolate and milk chocolate? Dark chocolate, especially 70% cacao or higher, has less sugar, no milk, more antioxidants, potentially anti-inflammatory properties. Milk chocolate has more sugar, milk solids, less cacao, more processed ingredients. This explains why dark chocolate appears to be less problematic for acne. But remember, the 2024 study I mentioned earlier used 85% dark chocolate but still associated with increasing in acne lesions. So even dark chocolate is not completely off the hook. It is about frequency and quantity. Now, let me share my personal experience. I am a chocolate lover, I really am. But over the years, I have found what my skin can and cannot tolerate. I have found that dark chocolate with 70% cacao or higher with near zero sugar contents doesn't trigger my acne. So that is what I have been eating ever since. I can enjoy a small piece most days without any issues. Regular milk chocolate with high sugar content, that is a big no for me. If I eat milk chocolate, I can guarantee to see a new pimple within a day or two. So here is the question for you. If you are standing in front of the aisle of the grocery store, looking at these 4 chocolate bars, which one would you choose? The answer, you need to read the ingredient list. That's the secret, not the fancy packaging, not the marketing claims. Only look at the ingredient list. Here is my rule. Prioritize chocolate bar with a cacao content of 70% or higher. This maximizes the antioxidants and minimizes the sugar. And ideally, look for near zero sugar content or at least very low sugar content. That is what I have found work for me. I have done trial and error so you don't have to. This 2 chocolate bar is what I will reach for. It satisfied my chocolate craving without triggering a breakout. Even dark chocolate with high sugar contents, I avoided as well. This I avoid. Now, everyone is different. Some people might be more sensitive to cacao itself. Others might be more sensitive to sugar and dairy. The key is to know your own skin and listen to your body. Here is my practical tip for you. When you are at the store, flip the bar over, check the cacao percentage, check the sugar content. If you are someone who breaks out from the sugar, choose the lowest sugar content and highest cacao. And if you are wondering, yes, I do this every single time I buy a new chocolate. it is a habit now. So what does all this mean for you? You probably no need to give up chocolate entirely. But here are some practical tips. Choose dark chocolate with near zero sugar. Look for at least 70% cacao with near zero sugar. It has less sugar, no dairy, and more antioxidants. Watch your frequency. If you are eating chocolate every day, try to reduce to a few times a week. The 2024 study used 50 grams chocolate daily. That is about half a standard chocolate bar. Pay attention to your skin. Everyone's skin reacts differently. Keep a simple food diary. If you notice breakouts after eating chocolate, you will know it is a trigger for you. Don't stress too much. Stress itself can cause acne. Enjoy your chocolate in moderation. Consider the whole picture. Chocolate is just one piece of the puzzle. Genetics, hormones, skincare, and other dietary factors all play a role. So let me bring everything together. The science is clear. Chocolate can worsen acne, especially consuming in large amounts or in the form of milk chocolate with lots of sugar and dairy. But the evidence is also nuanced. Not everyone reacts the same way. Dark chocolate appears to be less problematic than milk chocolate. But the 2024 study showed that even 85% dark chocolate can intensify the acne lesions when consuming daily. My advice: enjoy chocolate in moderation. Choose dark chocolate with at least 70% cacao and near zero sugar. And pay attention to your own skin. If you notice a breakout, you know it is a trigger for you. The takeaway: you don't need to give up the chocolate entirely. But be mindful of what type you are eating and how often. If you found this video helpful, hit like and subscribe. I'm Dr. Chiyen. I make videos about acne and skincare. Drop a comment below. Have you noticed any link between chocolate and your acne? I love to hear your experience. Thanks for watching. Take care of your skin and enjoy your chocolate wisely. See you in the next one. Bye.